And go.
Will the real Sin Cara please stand up?
Sin Cara, now known as, is he Hunico? Who is he? Because he's not the original Sin Cara that walked down to the ring when he first debuted in the WWE. And now the news is coming out that apparently the original Sin Cara has been, pushed aside. Chopped. And now they're looking to replace him with Hunico permanently.
Hunico takes over from Mystico. And even though Mystico was the one with all the skills, they've got Hunico taking his place, trying to drive the good ship, Cara. And he's making balls of it. Apparently they had to double tape his match with the one-man rock band. I mean, Christ almighty, they should just scrap Sin Cara altogether, to be honest. Get him run over by a bus in some sort of vignette. Bring back Tugboat or something to take him out. Terrible stuff on the Sin Cara part. But it'll sell merch. That's what matters, folks.
That's right, it will probably do that. As you said, being replaced is one thing. This guy, Hunico, is he a good replacement? Is he somebody who can match up to the original? The first guy was very, very athletic, and I enjoyed his appearances to begin with. I thought it was a novel idea that of course they could put anybody they liked underneath that mask, and really you wouldn't know too much of a difference. But of course the size difference was the first thing.
He put on some extra pounds, yeah. And now in fairness to him, the first match he had was decent that I saw. And I see Chris Mask in there. Was it Hunico or Mystico who had it taped? And from what I understand, I actually believe it was Hunico. The new Sin Cara had to have a double taping. So, I mean, that's probably not too good, is it, if they're going to go forward with that? Maybe it's just a bit too soon for him. He's probably a bit on the green side to be called up, especially put in a position like Sin Cara. I'm sure they've got high hopes for him going forward. World champion, no doubt.
Oh yeah, well I certainly think that kind of that track where you first give him the US title and maybe then you push him on to get to world title level. Maybe World Heavyweight Championship would come before, and maybe that would need a move to SmackDown, onwards then to Raw eventually, maybe in time for Rey Mysterio to sling his hook. But I think Mysterio's planning on hanging around a few more years. I don't think he's going anywhere.
I don't think we need him.
No.
That was terrible, sorry.
I don't think we need the guy at all. But, he certainly has been well replaced for me. I mean, I started to look at Sin Cara in a different light when I saw that essentially he was somebody who could work very well. Impressive acrobatics. I enjoy the acrobatic side. I know people say it's not a circus, but that circus act was always part of Mysterio's moveset. I mean, he was doing stuff that basically, it wouldn't happen in a real fight, is what I mean to say. It was showmanship. Yeah. But with Sin Cara, he had that in bucket loads.
He did. He had it tenfold. He was fantastic. It's going to be a shame. I'm going to miss the original Sin Cara, I have to say. I'm going to miss that chap jumping around the place. We'll have to just wait and see, I suppose, how Hunico holds the fort for Sin Cara going forward. Maybe he should lose a few pounds and he'll probably be a bit more agile, not as dangerous as he has been. Although I suppose you can't get more dangerous than the original Sin Cara either. But good to see the character still alive. I think they'll get a good couple of years out of him if he stays clean and healthy.
Well, I hope they continue to try and push the actual gimmick, because, if you get a guy and put him in a position where he can use the same moves, he can mimic what he has already been established to do. It wouldn't be too tough to get a guy who presumably has a bit of a Mexican wrestling style work ethic that you can transfer him over, and then there you have a guy who can actually sort of mirror what was originally there. But this is probably the weirdest thing that's happened in WWE since Fake Diesel, since Fake Razor Ramon. I mean, when those two came out, they were touted as being the real guys, and that's kind of what they're doing here. They've joked about Sin Cara being replaced, but they haven't exactly said this is a different guy. So we are being, in a sense, led to believe that Sin Cara is still the same guy that was there to begin with.
I feel bad for the original guy, in a sense that Alright, he said, okay, they took him off because of the supposed drugs that he was meant to have taken. Now, he said, as we've said before, it was an injection to the knee that he claimed the doctor gave him, and that he didn't give himself. Fair enough, all is forgiven. He gets his 30-day suspension. He's back a couple of days early. Even on the tapings on Tuesday, apparently, they said that he was backstage, he had his gimmick on, he was ready to go, he's behind the curtain, and they pull up Hunico and they say, right, you're going out there, you're Sin Cara, while the real Sin Cara is standing there going, well, why? They call him into the office, tell him, right, pack your bags, you're going home, forget about it. And then the new Sin Cara 2 goes out, does his match, Johnny, what's his face, Laurinaitis ain't happy with it, go back out, do it again. Messy stuff, like.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing that's been happening. Retapes of matches. I've heard there's been one or two recently that have been reshot, and stuff's going on with Heath Slater. There was some match with Slater that was reshot. I read about there during the week. But yeah, I mean, Laurinaitis certainly, with the influence he has now as a TV character and the influence we know he already has backstage, I would imagine that Laurinaitis has maybe got his, almost as much stroke as Triple H. Maybe you're looking at a guy who can actually make decisions now that changes TV on a day-to-day basis. And that's worrying because, I mean, what was his input in the past? Dynamic dudes and lots of divas.
I still think Sin Cara versus Sin Cara would have been pretty cool, actually. Would have been a good little gimmick for a week or two, As well, I suppose, with Hunico, yeah? Wasn't he from like a masked tag team in FCW there recently enough?
Yeah.
So that's another gimmick ruined if they're going to try bring this tag team division back. That would have been a nice fit, I think, going forward. A masked tag team, it's been a long time.
That was it. You had the two boys basically, the Hunico and Mystico. And they were in FCW for a long, long time. So these are two people who have actually been well trained at this point. They're not newbies by any stretch of the imagination. So I reckon that, it could have been either one. And it's interesting that they chose the Hunico. I suppose the size is slightly different, maybe. But, at least they went with somebody and they didn't kill that character. They could have killed it all together. But obviously they want somebody who's going to build to that Rey Mysterio level. If you're not going to sort of equal Mysterio's status, then why bother doing it? Because, I mean, it is a similar-ish character.
Ray did a good job, in fairness, in his day. We took note of him recently enough, didn't we? Put him over.
Yeah.
He did.
Big time.
Good worker, all right. We always bashed him down, but he's not the worst of them, is he?
The matches are quality. Now, Zombie, what are they talking about? Wrestling. Faboy, what do you think of Melina Perez release? That was not a good thing whatsoever. I'm not happy about it.
Yeah, they could have got a lot of stuff out of her, in fairness.
I hope she doesn't go to TNA. I mean, I don't want to see her get buried. I'd like to see her take on Mickie James again, though. That's one thing I would like.
Felt lousy that... Didn't Jomo say she was driving around with him to the arenas and they wouldn't let her into the building? That's fucking
really?
Yeah, they wouldn't let her in. They just said, "Oh, sorry, Melina, you're not coming in, love."
My God.
That's fucking terrible. You work with the company for how long?
Yeah.
What kind of respect to a woman as well? You wouldn't mind if it was the Crash Holly or someone, but I'm sure she's a nice enough lady,
Well, it makes no sense, and I know for a fact that if you're going to do that, then wow, that's a burial. I mean, that's you're never going to work with the company again.
Forget about it.
Yeah, that's the thing. As you can see, two different backgrounds here tonight. A bit of an upgrade. The steel cage and the beach or the summery backgrounds. The best of both worlds here tonight.
Still summer, officially.
It's still summer, so for one last night, we'll keep it on the sunny side of things, I think.
Sunny side of life, folks.
Absolutely. So keep it here on Justin and also on YouTube if